The grand ballroom of the Washington Liberty Hotel buzzed with anticipation. The American Honor Gala, an annual event celebrating veterans, first responders, and public servants, had drawn a prestigious crowd of politicians, military officials, celebrities, and journalists. But tonight, all eyes were on two women from vastly different worlds, Karoline Leavitt and Caitlin Clark. Karoline, a rising star in politics, was known for her unwavering patriotism and fearless advocacy for national values. Despite her young age, she had become a formidable figure in Washington, respected by many and criticized by those who found her too bold. Caitlin, a celebrated basketball icon, had transcended sports to become a role model. Her influence extended beyond the game, using her platform to support military families and fallen heroes. Both were being honored for their contributions to American culture and leadership. For Karoline, it was her tireless work advocating for veterans. For Caitlin, it was her commitment to using her voice for a greater cause. As the event began, the lights dimmed and the national anthem played. The audience rose in unison, some with hands over their hearts, others in quiet reverence. Karoline, seated in the front row, rested a hand on a folded American flag given to her family when her grandfather, a World War II veteran, had passed away. To her, it symbolized sacrifice and duty. On stage, Caitlin wore a jacket embroidered with "Honor the Fallen," a tribute to those who had given their lives in service. It was a small but powerful statement, carrying more weight than she anticipated. When the anthem ended, a journalist in the VIP section stood and spoke loud enough for all to hear. Caitlin, some argue these symbols represent a past that divides rather than unites us. Isn't it time we move forward from outdated ideas of patriotism? The room fell silent. The tension was palpable. This wasn't a question. It was a test. Karoline stood, clutching the folded flag. Her voice was steady. This flag was given to my grandfather's family as a final honor for his service. It's not outdated. It's not a political statement. It represents sacrifice, duty, and the price paid for our freedoms. A murmur spread through the audience. The journalist, unfazed, pressed on. But shouldn't patriotism focus more on inclusivity rather than clinging to old symbols? Karoline didn't flinch. Patriotism isn't exclusionary. It's what allows us to have this conversation. If honoring those who served is seen as divisive, perhaps the issue isn't the symbol, but how we've been taught to view it. The journalist turned to Caitlin, expecting her to distance herself. You're an athlete. Your career depends on sponsorships and public support. Do you really want to be part of something so polarizing? Caitlin could have played it safe. Instead, she stepped closer to Karoline. I play basketball because I love the game, she said, but I also love this country and the people who made it possible for me to play. That's what this jacket represents. If that's controversial, maybe we should ask why. A hush settled over the room. The journalist pushed further. So you don't care how others interpret these symbols? That their pain doesn't matter? Caitlin took a measured breath. Honoring the sacrifices of those before us doesn't erase the struggles we still face today. We can do both. We can respect our past while working for a better future. Those aren't opposites. They're connected. Silence hung in the air until a slow, deliberate clap broke through. A decorated veteran in his late 70s rose to his feet. His voice carried across the room. I fought for this country. I lost friends for it. And when I see young people like them standing up, I don't see division. I see hope. One by one, others stood, applauding. Some remained seated, whispering among themselves. Reporters typed furiously, crafting their angles. But it didn't matter. Karoline and Caitlin had done what few expected. They stood their ground. Within minutes, the internet erupted. Clips of the exchange spread like wildfire. News outlets framed the moment in conflicting ways, some praising their courage, others labeling them divisive. Caitlin's sponsors issued cautious statements, while some reevaluated their partnerships behind closed doors. Political pressure mounted against Karoline. Yet despite the storm, neither backed down. They had stood for something bigger than themselves. And no matter how the media spun it, they weren't about to apologize for it. Tell us in the comments, what are your suggestions on this whole story? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for more amazing updates.